They are killing, they are raping women, girls, young girls. And people were arrested. And then you are tortured in the barracks, beaten. People were thinking now the next may be her, the next may be him. And as a result, most of those people move away to Uganda.
In 2013, a civil war erupted between tribes in the newly established country of South Sudan. Tension created from a competition for power and discrimination divided the country. Out of the 12 million people living in South Sudan, nearly 3 million have been displaced from their homes due to violence. Over 1 million have fled to Uganda to seek safety at one of the 18 refugee camps. Morobi Refugee Camp, located in the Moyo district of Uganda, is home to nearly 190,000 refugees. Conditions within the camp are harsh. Non-governmental organizations supplying food, shelter, medicine, sanitation, and water are struggling to keep up with the massive overflow of refugees. Everyone in the camp has a story. A battle they are fighting to overcome the senseless violence happening within their own country. These are just a few of their stories. Water. Trucked miles across washed out dirt roads from the Nile River. Dispersed to the many water stations located around the refugee camp. People flock to these stations. They fill and carry hundreds of gallons of water a day back to their settlements. Like veins pumping blood to and from the heart. Water for cooking, cleaning, drinking, and farming. One community in the refugee camp hasn't received fresh water in more than 3 weeks. For reasons unknown, the trucks stopped coming. People are forced to get their water from nearby swamps and standing water. Without pots and pans to boil the water, many community members are getting sick.
It increases our suffering. Sometimes it causes upper respiratory tract infections, and the children really suffer.
Teresa Kaloro James, a resident of the community, was sitting outside her home in South Sudan when a government soldier shot her husband and told her and her children to run if they wanted to live. She escaped, but she's far from sanctuary. Teresa is living in a community with no clean water. Both her children are sick, but like everyone else in the area, she doesn't have a lot of options. The community has tried many times to inform both the camp officials and the water trucking company of their water situation. No one has come to their aid.
We really don't understand what is preventing them from bringing water. Sometimes we think they are afraid of our roads because they might get stuck.
Some families have left their huts to rebuild in other camp areas, but others, like Teresa, are afraid conditions won't improve no matter where they go. Refugees are vulnerable. Their lives are in the hands of the organizations who are volunteering to help. And despite their best efforts, sometimes those organizations can't follow through. The shade of the trees and dirt floors are the closest to a building they might ever have. They don't own desks, books, or backpacks.
Hands down. Stand at ease. Attention. At ease. Attention. Good morning. Good morning, teacher. How are you?
But the children within this small community are getting something many others in the camp aren't: an education. Over half of the refugees in the camps are children. However, the camps lack educational resources. Schools are overcrowded and far away. Some children have to walk as far as 5 miles. Others have no access to school at all due to their age or grade.
They are worried of their education. There is no school. They have stayed at home for almost 1 term. No school, which means they are fearing their future will be dark.
One community of concerned parents and teachers decided to take matters into their own hands. They gave up large plots of their own farming land to make space for Nongit Primary School. Approximately 500 children attend the makeshift school. Resources are limited. The teachers are all volunteers, and supplies are donated by the impoverished community. Children bring their own chairs from home or sit on stumps and the ground. And teachers use donated dried cassava, a woody shrub handed out to families for food, as chalk on the trunks of trees.
18 minus 20 is... Again. 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 Again.
The English they learn in school gives the children a common language which could help bridge the gap between the different tribes of South Sudan.
Again.
The importance of getting knowledge so that tomorrow they will be able to help themselves, also bring changes to the nation.
No one knows how long the conflict in South Sudan will last. But the people aren't willing to let an entire generation go uneducated. Amule Joseph was only 20 when he escaped the violence in the capital city of South Sudan. He was nearly killed after government soldiers stopped his bus and saw he was from a different tribe. His life was spared, but all of his belongings were stolen. When he finally arrived at the refugee camp, he found a distant relative to settle with.
Wow, the first day it was really very quiet, and although I'm scared of the bush, but in the last 1 week when we settle, there's no gunshot in the night.
Amule has been living in the refugee camp for over a year. He doesn't know where the rest of his family is, or whether they are alive or dead. But instead of hanging on to the past, Amule works for the future. Amule manages a soccer team that is part of a multi-camp soccer league. It's a program he helped start when he first arrived. Ethnic tension between the different tribes in South Sudan is the major cause for the civil war. But now many of the tribes are in one place, and Amule sees it as an opportunity to make a positive change for his country. He believes soccer can help bridge the tribes together.
My politician may be saying I cannot love maybe somebody from Kuku. But now if we have a ball, and maybe we can play in the one ball, maybe one field. In this way we become united.
People gather from all corners of the camp to take part, sometimes walking for hours to go to a game. It's worth it to them. Amule and the other soccer fans are able to find a sense of normalcy in the game and each other.
There is people trying to mislead us, but soccer is the right thing that can bring us together.
The people living in the Morobe refugee camp are in flux. If they try to return to South Sudan, they are likely to be killed. If they stay in Uganda, they are dependent on the help of overstretched resources. But they are also resilient. They have hope conditions will improve in the camps. They have hope that peace will come in their country. And they have hope they will return to South Sudan.
There is saying in the Bible that that's the end of everything. There is going to be an end and we shall go back to our place.